Okay, everyone, new evidence in the Karmelo Anthony case. This time it's two pieces of evidence. First, a racist rant on social media by Jeff Metcalf, who's the father of Austin Metcalf, the 17-year-old who was fatally stabbed after an altercation by Karmelo Anthony, who was just convicted and sentenced to 35 years for murder. Now, as I mentioned in previous videos, the jury selection process is a strong basis for appeal. Court TV is now reporting that the jury strikes of 3 African-American women, allegedly because the prosecution didn't want teachers on the jury, indeed might not survive Batson challenges that the defense attorneys likely did preserve for the appeal. And that's not surprising to me. Karmelo Anthony's defense attorneys are apparently both former prosecutors, so they would know all about Batson, and if the only thing they did right was to preserve the Batson challenge, it would be enough to overturn the verdict and mandate a new trial. The law says that if even one discriminatory strike was utilized by the prosecution and if the judge allowed it, the verdict must be overturned. Now, a Batson violation is considered a structural defect in the trial, meaning it's a defect so fundamental to the proceeding that it's literally impossible for the defendant to get a fair trial after a Batson violation. Now, on to the new evidence. I'll play some clips from the racist rant by Jeff Metcalf, Austin Metcalf's father. Let's say if Karmelo Anthony is granted a new trial and if he's convicted again. At a minimum, the victim impact statement from Jeff Metcalf could lose some of its impact because of the racist rant that he just released on social media. Let's watch portions of his video.
78% of you don't even know who your fucking daddy is because 78% of you don't have your father in the home anymore. You got baby mamas running around with 8 kids so they can get EBT cards to feed you all.
Now, that racist statement was utterly uncalled for as it plays with vile stereotypes. And here's more.
Because 400 years ago, someone actually sold you to us and we took you over here and put you to work. And then we had a civil war to free your ass. And now you want to talk shit? Oh, I've been so oppressed. You couldn't even vote 1960. Look how far you've come. Look at all the free shit we give you.
Okay, so he's saying African Americans are not oppressed, and yet the Supreme Court of the United States has found that those types of attitudes, if found on the jury, are incompatible with the Constitution's guarantee of a fair trial. Now, there can be no doubt that Jeff Metcalf probably would say he's not racist at all, but his attitudes aren't just limited to African Americans. Now, here's what he has to say about women.
You know what DEI stands for? Yeah. It means I don't have to be fucking qualified. I just have to be a certain color or a race or gender.
Now, what if Karmelo Anthony's defense attorney, one of his defense attorneys, had been a woman? Now, his rant creates the risk that her words in defense of Karmelo Anthony would be ignored by folks like Jeff Metcalf because he might think she was only hired because of DEI. Now, those types of attitudes he's revealing on social media are devastating to the notion of a fair trial and must be kept out of the courtroom. I did mention there's a second piece of new evidence, though, which surely would be admissible in the guilt phase of the trial. Let's watch.
Here is an email I have obtained. I believe it to be real. Just listen to this. One of the cheerleaders complaining about the twins. Coaches, the other cheerleaders and I have tried to make an effort to stay supportive and spirited throughout the football season. However, the disrespect we feel coming from some of the football players is making it very difficult. Today, after our game against Liberty, some of us cheerleaders in uniform went to Canes. While talking amongst ourselves about the loss, Hunter Metcalf stood up and yelled that my friend and fellow varsity cheerleader is a fat bitch. I don't understand what triggers his rages, but to yell this unprovoked made us all really upset and was incredibly embarrassing for my friend, as everyone is in Canes looked at her and started laughing. We see the Metcalfs act out time and time again, but we trust that there is no repercussions or some sort of consequence, so we stay out of it. After they left Canes, one of the other football players told us that Hunter said his hands were bisexual, implying that he would not only hit guys, but also girls. She is not embarrassed, but genuinely scared, especially after seeing the way he can act on the field. I would also appreciate for my name to stay confidential, as I fear what they would do if they knew. Why did Mike Howard not enter this in Karmelo Anthony's defense? There's so much that has been left out of this trial.
Now, this individual says he believes that the email that he received from the cheerleader is genuine. And I wasn't at the trial, so we'll have to wait for the trial transcript to be released. But I'm hearing now that Hunter Metcalf was the individual who first approached Karmelo Anthony, and then Austin Metcalf came over to help his brother, along with 2 or 3 friends, and that Austin Metcalf pushed Karmelo Anthony. And it escalated from there. Now, Court TV is also suggesting that a new trial might include testimony from a psychiatrist or psychologist who should be hired in the future to examine Karmelo Anthony to determine his mental state at the time of the fatal stabbing. Now, Anthony was 17 at the time, and the psychiatrist might be permitted to testify whether a 17-year-old's brain is fully formed and what his reaction could be under stress. And I'll just conclude by playing part of Jeff Metcalf's racist rant in which he states that he's Native American.
But one thing is for real. We are Native American. I have my Indian card and so do the boys. So if you want to talk about stolen land, yeah, that starts here. We were here before y'all were. They took all our land and put us on a reservation. They just brought you guys over on a boat.
So maybe he disclosed his heritage to try to excuse his behavior. In any event, it seems improbable that he was identifying with the Native American branch of his family tree when he said, "We brought you over here 400 years ago." As far as I'm aware, Native Americans did not play a large role in the transatlantic slave trade. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe.